All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on this here Husqvarna. We're going to put a new carburetor on it and a new fuel pump, and we'll get into that more. But before we do that, I'm out of firewood, so we're going to have to get some more firewood because they're calling for 5 to 8 inches of snow tonight. So I want to get that done while the ground is still clear because I don't want to be messing with it tomorrow. I'd rather just be in here, and I need to get a fire going. So slightly above freezing. I think it's 35 degrees right now. There is snow starting to come down. Take you outside so you can kind of see what's going on now. This is the start of it, and supposed to continue today into tonight. Here we go. So we definitely got some snow coming down right now. Before you know it, the ground will be white. So let's get this fire built and get this firewood loaded up so I don't have to deal with it. All right, let's go out here and get some firewood. It's really starting to come down now. I need to clear this little hut I've got. I need to clear all that firewood out of there. So I need to get this cleared out so I can put that Kubota in it. This is where the Kubota is going to stay. So I got a month to do it. In a month, my neighbors come back from Florida and they're going to want their barn back. So I got to get my stuff out. All right, we got all the firewood loaded up on the cart. I'm going to give you guys a tip if you burn. Don't make the same mistake I did. This is American elm, and I bought this tree. It was a 44-inch in diameter tree, and I paid $75 for it. It is horrible to split. You will go through chains on your chainsaw. It's just not worth buying, not in my opinion. Great wood to burn. Horrible to process. So my advice to you is never buy an American elm tree. All right, first things first, let's get the hood off. You'll have a connection point here, an electrical connector for your headlights. Just disconnect that, and this should just lift up and out of there. There you go, just like that. Can't get any easier than that. All right, we'll pull the filter off of here. By the way, if you don't know, this is your fuel pump. One thing that always happens on these Briggs and Strattons is this hose here rots away, and we'll check it for cracks. If that rots away, you won't be able to pull a vacuum on this pump, and this pump won't work. Something to keep an eye out for. Looks like the filter is good. We'll clean the pre-filter off before we put it back together. Let me grab some tools and we'll start pulling this cover off. All right, I'm going to give you guys a pretty good backstory here on this mower. So the guy that owns it was a customer of mine when I was doing this part-time. I had a full-time job and I would work on mowers in my spare time and any kind of small engine stuff. Well, never fails. I get a phone call in the middle of making a video. So anyhow, let's continue. So the guy was a customer, and I've had this mower here a couple times already, probably 3. He has me go through his stuff every year, make sure it's good to go. And about 2 years ago, he had me go through this thing because he would be running it, and then all of a sudden, maybe 20 minutes in, it would start spitting and sputtering and making a heck of a, it would just lose power. And I thought, well, it's got to be a solenoid, or maybe ignition coil. So I had ignition coils here. I had a mower that had this motor on it. I put 2 new ignition coils on, and it did the same thing. Well, dang it, it's not that. So I tried all kinds of stuff. I think I even replaced this vacuum tube here, which, by the way, is cracked again. So I do have one on the shelf. But, I tried everything. And then finally, I decided, all right, I'm going to buy a bunch of parts for the carburetor and rebuild it. I did that, and it stopped. It just quit doing it. It was running perfect then. Well, now we're back to, he says about 45 minutes in, it'll start doing that same thing, only not as bad. So what I'm thinking is we're just going to put a brand new carburetor on it, and hopefully, he gets another 5 years or something out of it before anything like that happens again. But we're going to do that. We're going to put a new fuel pump on this. I'll have to look through my notes. I wrote up a receipt for it, so I'll have to look and see if I did this or not before. If I did, I may not worry about putting a new one on, but we'll do that. We'll change out this tube, and we're going to give it a once-over. I'll probably sharpen the blades, change the oil, check everything out, and make sure it's good to go for him. So I'll go ahead and get this cover off. These are a 3/8 bolt, and you don't have to take them all the way out. All you have to do is loosen them, and this will pull right up. And one more. I actually like these engines. I think they're a good running engine. They're pretty well balanced. I don't know what anybody else's thought on this is, but I've always liked them. They have plenty of power. I got to go ahead and grab a 5/16 nut driver, and there's 2 screws down inside this filter box that has got to come out. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You also have to take off this screen here for your fan. It's got 4 screws that hold it on too. So you take that off before you can pull this cover up off of it. I've known quite a few people who've had these Husqvarnas, and every single one of them says they're a great machine. I haven't heard hardly anything bad about them. All right, here we go. Here we go. That covers off the engine shroud. All right. Carburetor's right here. So another thing you got here is there's a tube back here that's going to have to come disconnected. All right. I don't see any mouse nests or anything like that. Starter gear looks good. No broken fins. The heads look all right. I'm not quite sure what this is here. Oh, okay. Well, a tube is off of this manifold. That's kind of odd that tube fell off. But all right, it's back on. Okay, now on the screws that hold this manifold on, they've got a Torx inside of them, inside the hex part. And it's a T30. And the reason they do that is because the ones that are underneath are kind of a pain in the butt to get at. So that helps a lot. Well, I think my ratchet's broke. Boy, it doesn't want to move at all. This has been the best ratchet I've ever had, and for some reason it's broken now. Doesn't that figure? Huh. Well, shoot. There's also a wire here on your fuel shutoff solenoid. Got to disconnect that. We are going to need a pair of pliers to disconnect this fuel hose. Let me go grab a pair of pliers here. You guys ever seen a pair of pliers like this? Needle nose, standard pair. Pretty cool. I actually do use this quite a bit. You know, it's one of them things you look at and it's kind of cliche and you think you wouldn't use it, but I actually do. Oh boy. There we go. Get off there. Get off of there. Come on. There we go. That wasn't that hard, was it? All right, one more screw here. I think there might be a couple linkages here that we're going to have to deal with underneath, but that's okay. Yeah, there is right here. So pull that one out, and then there's one more on this side. All right. Okay, we got that hose that I put back on that somehow was disconnected. Pull that back off. Button won't come off now. There we go. All right, come on now. Work with me. There we go. It's off. So let's take this over to the bench and we will change out all the manifolds onto the new carb. All right. We're going to take off these 4 nuts here. And this back plastic piece should come off of there. Of course, we got gas going everywhere. I just looked over and the tractor was leaking gas too. I had to clamp that off. Okay. There we go. Now this comes off. And the carburetor looks the same, right? To me it does. It's a Nicky carb. Of course, this is an aftermarket. The Nicky carbs are about $170, and I know the guy doesn't want to spend that kind of money, so, you know, this is what happens. Must have to unthread these, huh? I don't know where I got those. They're pretty old and rusty, though, aren't they? Yeah, that's what it is. Gotta unthread them. No biggie. Okay, that is off. Now, looks to me like there's 2 gaskets and a shim. So it'll be this one here and this here. That there. That's going to go on this side. So gasket, shim, gasket. And they've got these little cup pieces that go towards this manifold here. Just like that. Okay. Now the back side looks like just a gasket. So that'll work for that one. All right, let me clean these plastic pieces up and I'll be right back. All right, so I got these parts clean, and one other thing you want to do is take a look at these plastic parts. I don't know how common it is, but I've seen where these are seamed together, they will come apart. And when they do that, your engine won't run right. You'll be creating a vacuum leak in here. So one thing you want to do while this is all apart is take a look at all your seams, give it a good once over, and make sure that you don't have any pieces that are coming apart and possibly causing you any trouble. Because you could put 3 carburetors on it, don't matter. It's still going to end up with the same issue. So Just a tip to keep in mind. All right, it's time to start reassembly. So we will put our gaskets in order the way I had shown before and start sticking our screws in here. And we'll just turn all 4 of them kind of evenly until it tightens down. There we go. And give it a little bit of a snug here. I believe that they do have a tool that goes over that. I don't have it, obviously, so this is going to work just fine. All right, so something I just noticed. Look here. There is a gap here. That's not good. So that is a problem. This thing might need replaced. Let me pull it off. Yeah, that is definitely a leak. So this engine isn't going to run right like that. All right, so I got it off. Obviously that is warped. It's pretty evident. For some reason on this older carburetor, it seemed to be sealing better. I don't know if the gaskets were thicker, but I'm going to go out in the box truck and see if I've got another one. I've got an engine out there that it runs, but there's something wrong with it, and I just don't care to figure out what it is. So I might have one of these. I will go see if I have it, and if I do, if it's in better condition, we'll just use that and throw that one in the trash. All right, on out to the box truck. See if we can find this thing in here. It's kind of a mess. Oh, I think I found it. Let me see. Well, that is a V-twin. Let me uncover it and we'll see what we got. Okay, it does have one on it, and it looks like it's in good condition. Before I pull this off, I want to go see what they cost new and just compare it. So it may just be worth ordering one, but we'll see. All right, so I looked it up. It's crazy. These things are about $100. So I'm going to take it off of this one. We're not even going to bother buying one. That's pretty expensive, but so let me get to work. Pull that off and I'll be back. Okay, it looks the same. It just had this bracket underneath it, which if you look at the one that came off, it also has mounting points for that. So we just took that bracket off, and this one does not look bowed nearly as bad. It might have a little bit to it, but I think it'll still work. So let me clean it up and we'll put it on. Okay, so looks can be deceiving. This one is bowed just as bad as that one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean this with some brake cleaner around here, and I'm just gonna use some good Permatex or gasket maker, and hopefully that'll take care of the problem. It'll seal it up. I won't need a lot. I'll just go around this ring here on both of these, and that should take care of it. All right, I got it all put back together, so we're gonna put it on. With that Permatex in there, there should be no leaks at all in that intake manifold. So that should take care of the problem. My guess is that the guy would run it, and when it would start getting really hot, that thing would warp even more and probably cause it to spit and sputter. So hopefully that takes care of it. I'll get it put on and we'll see what happens when we fire it up. All right, it's the next day. I've let that Permatex set up overnight, and I'm going to show you what we got outside for weather. That looks different, huh? I think we got about 5 inches or so. So it's really wet. But anyway, I got this setting. I put the cover back on so it can cool properly. I did end up putting a new fuel pump on it. I put the new hose on it. So let's see what happens. It's gonna take it a minute. All right. One other thing I'm going to make sure to do here is I'm going to put a new fuel filter on. That fuel filter looks old, and we're going to go have to pick up a oil filter, get this oil changed. So there you go. That's how you change out a carburetor on a Briggs and Stratton V-twin engine. And hopefully you guys learned a few tips in here and what to look for when you take it apart. I'm going to leave this video right here and go ahead and get on to doing the rest of the service on this, doing an oil change, changing the fuel filter, and so I will see you on the next video.